Next up down here on the main stage, we have Yasmin on how to create more joy, connection, and freedom in our lives. And just as a friendly reminder for everyone up at KindFest, make sure you stop by the Kindness Pavilion for all kinds of speakers throughout the day, located in the back of the park there with all the tents and booths. There are a lot of good people up there and a lot of great things to hear. But for now, at the main stage, please give a big, warm KindFest welcome to Yasmin Nguyen.
Alright, hey guys! Are you guys having fun? Awesome. Well, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much to all the volunteers, to Angie, and all the folks who are here to celebrate kindness. I'm so grateful to be here. So, I have a quick question for you. Would you like to have more joy in your life? I heard a couple yeses. Okay, would you like to have more connection in your life? Yes. And would you like to have more freedom in your life? Absolutely. Well, me too. We're all in the right place. My name is Yasmin Nguyen, and I am a joy seeker, I'm a joy maker, and I'm a joy ambassador. And I am excited to invite you on this joy ride with me. But before I do, I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely overwhelmed, overworked, and overcommitted? Have you ever felt guilty for taking time off for yourself? Have you ever felt so burnt out that all you wanted to do was curl up under your blanket and binge on Netflix all day? Well, I certainly have. Well, chances are you may be what I call an overworked giver. Now, here's what an overworked giver is. It's someone who cares so much and is so committed to their responsibilities, to their work, and so often we spend extra time working and taking on more responsibilities. An overworked giver is someone who also cares so much about other people, whether they be family, our friends, our coworkers, and often we forget about ourselves. And as a result of giving so much, we end up becoming depleted. I mean, I know that because around 10 years ago, I had my web design business. I've been an entrepreneur for almost 20 years now. And I remember one day sitting at my desk and I saw an ad for a Robert Kiyosaki seminar pop up on my screen. And I remember, oh, I love his books. It's the Rich Dad, Poor Dad guy. And so I immediately signed up. And I'm sitting there at the training, and the trainer goes, you too can make passive income with real estate. And I immediately signed up for all the courses. And the next thing I knew, I had 3 rental properties and 10 tenants, in addition to my web design business. Then one day I'm sitting at my desk and I see this ad pop up for a food competition. And I thought, I love food. And I'm pretty good in the kitchen too. So I entered, and to my surprise, I ended up getting second place for my dipping sauces. And as part of the prize, I got a scholarship to work with the Food Innovation Center to take my ideas to market. So now I'm starting a food business. And then one day a friend of mine said, hey Yasmin, you want to start a social club? We get a chance to meet people. And I thought, yes, I would love to meet people. So now I started a social club. And then one day I'm sitting at my desk and I see this really cool product that helps photographers take these fun, abstract, artistic photos. And I thought, hey, I'm going to start an e-commerce store. Well, next thing I knew, I had 5 different businesses that I was trying to run at the same time. And, you know, as an overachiever, I thought I could do it, but the reality was I couldn't. I was sleeping in my office, my health was suffering, my relationships were failing, and I was just in so much pain. I was really depressed. And I remember one day, on my way to work, I was in so much pain, and all I could think of is, how can I get rid of this pain? And I finally got into my office, and I tried to work, but I couldn't. And so I just had this calling to just drop everything and leave. And that's what I did. I dropped everything, I hopped in my car, and I drove as far west as I could. Now, I'm from Portland, Oregon, so when you drive west, I drove and drove and drove, you end up at this place called Cannon Beach. Those of you who've ever been out to the Oregon coast, you know that Cannon Beach is one of the most beautiful places out there. And so the minute that I got out there, I buried my toes in the sand. I took a deep breath, and I looked out at the water. And in that moment, I just discovered this calm, this peace, this freedom for the first time. And in that moment, I said to myself, this is what it's like to say yes to myself. This is what it's like to take care of the person who takes care of everyone else. And this is what it's like to give myself the love and freedom I deserve. And in that moment, I made a decision to come back to this special place the following week, and then the following week, and then the following week, and the following week. A year and a half later, I had been out to the Oregon coast 52 times. And as a result, I was able to create space in my life to figure out what was most important. I was able to reconnect with myself, and I was able to make some changes. So I got rid of all my businesses, I got rid of all my tenants, I started to heal my body, I started to rebuild my relationships, and now I got a chance to get back into alignment with my work, my life, and my relationships. And here's what I want you to know, is that no matter how stressed you might be feeling, a shift is totally possible. And that you don't have to go to the coast 52 times like I did in order to experience this shift. And there is a way to create more joy, more connection, and more freedom in your life. Do you guys want to hear how? Awesome. All right. Well, the secret actually starts with kindness. Kindness is the activator of joy. It's that seed that sprouts and grows into joy. And so when I talk about joy, I want to share with you 3 different types of joy. I call it joy 1.0, joy 2.0, and joy 3.0. Now, joy 1.0 is about taking care of ourselves, seeking out and experiencing joy in all the different ways, being here with our families, celebrating, connecting, meeting people, doing all those things that bring us joy. And so what I want to invite you to do is to close your eyes for a minute, okay? Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and think of a place that brings you joy. Okay? Now take another deep breath. Think of an activity that brings you joy. Okay? Now take another deep breath. Think of an experience or a memory that brings you joy. Okay. And finally, take a deep breath. Think of a person who brings you joy. Okay, now you can open your eyes, and if you're around someone, turn to the other person and say, that's what joy looks like. All right. So that's joy 1.0. It's about experience joy for ourselves. Now joy 2.0 is about connecting with others and sharing with them kindness and appreciation. And so over at my booth over there, now you can't miss this booth because it's the only tent that doesn't look like any of the other tents. It's the beach tent. It's the one directly in front of me there. And at that booth, hey, there you are. I have these cards that say, I love how awesome you are. Now, my dear friend Kathy Armia has created these cards, and I want to invite you to come up there after my talk or throughout and take some of these cards and give them out to others. It's an opportunity for you to practice Joy 2.0. If you see someone who just is awesome or doing something awesome, share it with them. Give them one of these cards. Write a note and just say, I love how awesome you are. So that's Joy 2.0. My final Joy 3.0. Now this is fun. This is about creating an experience in a way that others can witness and be inspired and share joy. So for example, this Kind Fest is a Joy 3.0 experience. We're bringing people together. We're sharing, we're demonstrating kindness and joy so that we inspire others to practice it. And so I want to share with you a final story. I was speaking at the Nonprofit Technology Conference over in DC about 4 years ago. And when I was there, I was staying with my dear friends Neil and Heather. Now, Neil and Heather have this amazing 10-year-old daughter named Kendall. And every morning when we would get together and sit down for breakfast, Kendall would just light up the room with her energy and her curiosity, and she would say, Yasmin, what are you doing this morning? And I said, Kendall, I'm going to this conference. It's like, awesome. And so each morning we would sit down and have this great, fun breakfast together. And then the final day that I was there, I was sitting and I was asking Kendall, I was like, hey, what's going on? And she was just really quiet. She kept to herself. She barely looked up from her bowl of cereal. And I said, hey, Kendall, you seem different today. What's up? And she said, well, I have to go sell cookies. And I said, what's wrong with that? People love cookies. She said, yeah, but every time that I go out there and I ask someone if they'd like to buy a box of cookies, I get rejected. And that doesn't feel good. And I said to Kendall, I was like, Kendall, I totally know what that feels like. I'm sorry. I've been rejected so many times too. And so I asked Kendall, I said, hey, how much are your cookies? And she said, they're $4 a box. So I said, great. So I took out my wallet, I handed her a 20 and said, here, why don't you give me 5 boxes? And she said, really? And I said, yes, yeah. And so then I said, now here's the thing, Kendall, is that I don't eat cookies myself. And so what I want you to do is I want you to take those 5 boxes and I want you to give them to 5 people you've never met before. All of a sudden, her eyes lit up. She leaped out of her chair and she said, Mom, guess what? We get to give cookies away. And it was amazing to see the transformation in her. And I said, now, Kendall, here's the reason why I want you to do that, is I want you to know what it's like to just make someone's day. I want you to see, hear, and feel the appreciation. And I want you to do that 5 times so you really know what that's like. And then, when you're out there, try this instead. Instead of asking someone, hey, would you like to buy a box of cookies? Try this. Invite them and say, hey, is there someone in your life you really care about? Because if there is, I want to help you make their day by giving them a box of cookies. And so what we're doing is we're creating an opportunity for someone to give. We're creating an opportunity for joy. We're creating that container to spread more kindness. And that's what Joy 3.0 is all about. And so my invitation to you is to not only experience joy and to give joy, but how can you create an opportunity for others to give joy as well? For those of you, one of the things that I'm working on right now is I'm traveling across America for the next 18 months on the Joyful Living Project. And one of the reasons why I created this project was just seeing the negativity and the divisiveness and the anger and the pain in our country right now. I wanted to do something that could make a difference. And so I committed the next 1.5 years of my life to travel all across America to discover and explore what joy looks like in our lives. And I believe that when we can focus on something that is positive, we can make a shift. And so all across this journey, I'm going to be interviewing people. I'm going to be discovering joyful experiences like this and documenting them. And just think of like how Anthony Bourdain traveled across the world discovering food and culture. Very similarly, I'm going to be sharing all of my experiences via video and other content as well. And so I want to invite you, if you want to be a part of this community of joy makers, good shot, almost on the count, then I want to invite you to take out your phone, and if you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, to look up Joyful Living Project and follow me and share the content and share the experiences, because by doing so, you too become a joy maker. And then also I want to invite you to come back to my tent. Again, it's the small one, the round one, the one that just stands out. It's about living joyfully, and Amanda is helping me back there. Grab a card, I love how awesome you are card, and start sharing that as well too. So I'm going to leave you with one final thought. And in our world today, we have a choice. We can either focus on what's wrong, what's not right, or we can focus on what's good. And my invitation to you is to choose joy and to choose kindness. So thank you.